Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're putting on our gamer gear and treating physics measurement like a final boss we have to absolutely demolish. We're diving straight into sections Latihan I and Latihan Nai. So if you've ever stared at a physics problem and felt totally lost in that jumble of numbers and symbols, don't worry, we're going to fix that today. We're going to break down exactly how physicists decode reality by identifying quantities and, crucially, how we manipulate all that data using unit conversions. Let's get into it.
Okay, look at this monster of a worksheet. Right out of the gate, we're hit with real-world scenarios. We've got Randy filling his water bottle with 750 milliliters and a motorcycle tire sitting at 36 psi. Now, there's a reason these exercises use everyday things like tires and water bottles. Measurement is literally the bridge between theoretical math and the physical world we live in. To even begin to understand the universe, we need a solid system to categorize the stuff right in front of us.
But before we can solve anything, we need our first power-up. We have to really understand what a measurement actually is. In physics, measurement, or pengukuran, is simply comparing a physical quantity against a standard unit. Think about how chaotic this used to be. People literally measured length using their actual feet, which meant the distance changed depending on whose foot you used. That's a nightmare for science. A standard unit is that universally agreed-upon measuring stick, so a scientist in Jakarta and one in Tokyo know they're talking about the exact same thing.
So think of every measurement as having three vital stats. You've got the quantity, or Besaran, which is what you're actually measuring, like length or mass. Then you have the value, or Nilai, which is just the number. And finally, the unit, or Satuan, which gives that number context. Leave any of these out and your measurement is completely useless, maybe even dangerous. Imagine a doctor prescribing 500 of a medication. If they don't say whether the unit is milligrams or grams, that is a huge problem. You always need all three working together.
Let's see these stats in the real world. If the temperature in Jakarta is 30 degrees Celsius, suhu, or temperature, is our quantity. The number 30 is our value, and Celsius is our unit. Simple, right? But here is where unit conversion, the whole focus of Latihan I, sneaks in. Celsius is great for knowing if you need a jacket, but if we're doing intense thermodynamic calculations, we'd have to convert that into Kelvin. The core quantity stays the exact same, but the numerical value shifts because we change the unit.
Next up in our training montage, we need to understand the difference between base quantities and derived quantities. Think of base quantities as your fundamental starter items. They're like the letters of the alphabet, totally independent and globally defined. Derived quantities, though, those are like words. They're crafted upgrades that are made by multiplying or dividing two or more of those base items together.
You'll want to memorize this cheat sheet of the 7 sacred SI base quantities: length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, luminous intensity, and amount of substance. And it's actually fascinating how obsessive scientists are about these. The kilogram, for example, used to be defined by a literal physical chunk of metal locked in a vault in France. But recently, they redefined it using the Planck constant, a fundamental law of nature. That means the base quantity of mass is now perfectly absolute, anywhere in the universe. Mind-blowing, right? So let's look at those crafted derived quantities. Area, for instance, is just length multiplied by length, giving us square meters. But watch out, because this is exactly where Latihan I unit conversions love to trip people up. When you're converting square meters to square centimeters, you're not just moving a decimal point 2 spots. Because the unit is squared, the math compounds. Sure, 1 meter is 100 centimeters, but 1 square meter, that's actually 10,000 square centimeters. You gotta square the conversion factor too.
One final power-up before the boss fight: knowing the difference between scalar and vector quantities. This is absolutely crucial. Scalar quantities are pretty chill. They only care about the number, the magnitude. That's the whole story. But vectors are demanding. They need a numerical value and a specific direction, and that direction changes all the math. If two vector forces collide head-on versus pushing the same way, the result is completely different.
Mix these up and your calculations are totally toast. Velocity, weight, force, and acceleration, those are all vectors pushing in a direction. But mass, length, speed, and temperature, just scalar numbers hanging out. Imagine an airplane flying in a heavy crosswind. Its speed, the scalar, might be 500 kilometers per hour, but its velocity, the vector, has to account for the wind blowing it sideways. If the pilot only calculates using the scalar speed, no way are they landing in the right city.
All right, training is officially over. Let's face the Latihan I boss and systematically take down question 1. We just need to extract the pure data from the stories here. Let's start with scenario A.
Randy filling his water bottle with exactly 750 milliliters of water.
Boom! Let's slice it up. What physical property are we measuring? Volume. So volume is our quantity, our Besaran. The number is 750, so that's our value. And the standard of measurement is milliliters, that's our unit. Problem A, solved. But keep Latihan in the back of your mind. If we are plugging this into a standard physics equation, we'd likely need to convert those 750 milliliters into SI units, like 0.75 liters, or even take it all the way to cubic meters.
Now watch how fast we can clear the rest of these using that exact same logic. For the motorcycle, the quantity is air pressure. The value is 36, and the unit is PSI. For the airplane, the quantity is altitude. The value is 35,000, and the unit is feet, or kaki. Now catch this. PSI and feet are imperial units, not standard SI units. In a modern physics lab, this triggers an immediate Latihan conversion scenario. We'd have to convert those 35,000 feet straight into meters or kilometers before doing any real math.
Wrapping up the first question, Earth's gravity gives us gravitational acceleration as the quantity, 9.8 for the value, and meters per second squared for the unit. And for the AC unit, power is the quantity, 2 is the value, and pk, which is horsepower, is the unit. Cleanly extracting these stats is the mandatory first step before we can even think about doing complex mathematical conversions. First phase of the boss is officially down.
And just like that, we're in the final phase. Questions 2 and 3 are basically just testing if we actually memorize those cheat sheets from earlier. They want us to match the quantities to their correct mathematical symbols and units. This isn't just trivia, guys. These symbols are the universal shorthand for every physics equation on the planet.
Let's speed run this base table, but pay attention because precision really matters here. Look at mass. Its symbol is a lowercase m, but its unit is the kilogram. Meanwhile, length uses an L for its symbol, but its unit is the meter, which uses a lowercase m. Keeping that straight is exactly how you survive unit conversions. If Latihan asks you to convert 5 tons to kilograms, you have to confidently know mass is the base quantity and apply the rule that 1 ton is exactly 1,000 kilograms.
Finally, the derived quantities. Let's look at massa genus, or density. It's derived from mass and length, specifically mass divided by volume. This is where those advanced Latihan conversions get super interesting. If you're converting density, you might be converting tons to kilograms on the top part of the fraction while simultaneously converting kilometers to decimeters on the bottom. Remember your scale. Since 1 kilometer is 10,000 decimeters, you were doing a ton of mathematical juggling just to keep the measurement accurate. We totally crushed this table.
We did it. We broke down Latihan, extracted the stats, and saw exactly why those tricky Latihan unit conversions are so necessary. But as you look at the world around you today, think about this. Every single measurement we take, and every unit we so carefully convert, is ultimately just a human-made label that we slap onto an infinite, chaotic universe. So are we truly capturing reality? Or are we just creating really beautiful models to help our brains make sense of it all? Keep asking questions, keep measuring, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. See you next time.